Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Deep Rooted Self-Love podcast. My name is Nora, and I'm a self-love coach and hypnosis practitioner. And if it's your first time listening to the podcast, hello. And if you are someone in my community, maybe we've met before, maybe you've been in my coaching containers before, welcome back. I am committing to making a podcast episode every 2 weeks. So I have to, still edit this today and get it out tomorrow so that, I can just make this podcast more of a regular thing. I know I've said this multiple times in the last podcast episode, so we'll see how it's gonna go. But I did actually self-hypnosis the other day, so my clients all get access to a hypnosis library where I have different hypnosis recordings. They are, of course, not as detailed and accustomed as when you have a one-on-one session with me, but they're still really impactful. And I did a hypnosis on clarity because I was kind of trying to figure out, okay, how do I move forward with my business? How many clients do I want to take on? How much time do I want to spend on things like the podcast and my newsletter, and how do I want to approach it? And it became really clear to me in this hypnosis that for me right now it's really about fun and about just having fun with creating content, and of course serving my clients, but also not serving too many because life of a mom can get a lot, and I am at the moment still the main caretaker from Monday to Friday. So that's how it's looking like, and I'm really enjoying just getting back to my newsletters and speaking to you on the podcast. And even though I don't have a ton of listeners on my podcast, the followers that I have, I feel always message me that they really like the podcast episode. So it makes me super happy to hear that. So and if you listen to last week's episode, this one is a bit, or 2 weeks before, this one is a bit different. This time I want to speak about why it's okay not to fix it right now. So as often, I'm speaking from my own experience here. I just had a coaching session with one of my dear clients, and she was like, every time you make a podcast episode or you write a newsletter, I feel you wrote it for me. And it's not the first time that I have this feedback. I even get this feedback from friends sometimes. I even have a friend who once said to me, I feel like you make these reels for me. Interestingly, I do, but also for the other people in my community. And it just seems to be there's always themes that people are going through. And the way I see these themes is through my coaching sessions, but also through my own life, to be completely honest. So going on this topic that I want to speak about today, so right now I have been tired over the last few weeks because my baby hasn't been sleeping very well. And whenever I feel tired, of course, life just feels a bit harder and feels more overwhelming, and everything that I spoke on in the last podcast episode, which I stand for, to making the mundane sacred, becomes a bit more difficult when you're tired. But and I noticed that in my sessions this week as well, and in the messages that I've been getting from my clients, is we oftentimes feel so overwhelmed when we don't feel good, and we want to either fix it straight away, or we want to overshadow it with toxic positivity. And both are ways how we actually avoid our feelings, and I feel I haven't fallen into the trap of toxic positivity in a while, or in a long time, because just of the nature of my work. But I can definitely fall into the other trap of being oh, I don't feel good. Okay, what do I need to do? What hypnosis session do I need to do? What belief is there that I need to uncover? Whatsoever, and so forth. And what really it is about oftentimes is just feeling it. And I just had a session with a client who was kind of sharing with me a struggle that she's going through, and that she's been going through for the last couple of months. And and she was saying I can try to see it this way, and this can be the positive impact of it. And I kind of tried to stop her and was you don't need to figure it out right now, It's not about figuring it out right now. And I gave her the example of my own birth. Like, if you've listened to the episode that I recorded with my fiance, you probably heard that my birth didn't go the way I wanted it. And it wasn't a very nice experience. And it was actually pretty traumatizing, to be honest. And I still have moments where I wish things had gone differently, and where I feel bad for mainly my son, actually, that this is how he has had to come into the world. And I remind myself in those moments that it's not about figuring out right now why this is my path and why this is what had to happen. And I also try to remind myself of not, pretending like it was better than it was, because big parts of it were just not very nice, and it was very disappointing due to my preparation that was very focused on a very natural and beautiful birth. But so, and that I just want to give as a reminder that sometimes you really don't need to fix things. And what's important, though, is you don't need to fix them right now, but you do need to feel them. And I think this is what oftentimes we forget to do in those moments. We really try to avoid our feelings. And this is what last episode was also about. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it, especially the last part where I did like a little meditation that really connects you with your body. And that is just such an important part, to just feel into your body and feel what is active in you in that moment, and to go out of your head and into your body. You can really even imagine like going into an elevator inside your head and like writing that down into your heart, into your belly, into your womb, and seeing what your body has to say there. And that doesn't mean that we can't fix things or that we can't, work on stuff. I am, of course, a huge fan of working on triggers and healing inner child wounds and healing shadows and all that stuff. But if we are always focused on the next thing and the next thing we need to fix, and we shouldn't feel this way, we're really missing the point of the human experience, which is riding the highs and the lows, and that is just part of it all, and that's what makes the human experience human, right? And there's also something that I say to my clients over and over again: you can only feel a certain emotion for 90 seconds at a time. And I feel like that is so helpful to know, because if you really just let yourself feel that emotion for 90 seconds fully, I can almost promise you that it's gonna go away, or at least get lighter. And it might come back, and that's totally fine, but at least let your body do its thing, and let your body guide you where you need to go and where you need to put your attention to. Yeah, and oftentimes what I've noticed as well is that sometimes there's just certain emotions that just need to be felt, and they don't even need any fixing. The moment you just feel them and let them be there, they kind of dissolve by themselves. And another thing is, and I think that's an important disclaimer to make, a lot of us fall under dissociation in their lives. So like a lot of us dissociate in certain moments. So even if you feel a certain numbness around you and you feel like you're just like very far away from everything that's happening, that is your body protecting yourself from feeling certain emotions. And that is something you might have learned in childhood. A lot of people who dissociate learned in childhood that something is just too much to handle. They didn't have the support to actually feel their emotions. So it's better to dissociate from the body and be like, this is happening to this person over there and not to myself over here. So what I find really helpful with that, and what I oftentimes do with clients, is really connecting in the moment. And what I experience for myself is that it's really helpful to, in the moment, just be like, I am here. Like, tell yourself, I am here now. I am here. And look around the space, look around the room, see that you're safe here. Feel how the cup in your hand feels. Feel the fabric of the sofa. Feel the temperature of the room. And I've noticed that so many times with clients and with myself, that the moment they go, I am here, all the tears start flowing, and everything that they aren't allowing themselves to feel is actually coming up. And that's when the 90 seconds come in quite handy. And also tears, tears are just our natural system that is regulating themselves, and that is actually flushing out stress hormones out of the body and bringing us back to a peaceful state. And that is what is so interesting, that oftentimes when you've gone through the valley of tears, how I learned it in my coaching program, somehow so stuck to me. But when you go through those emotional waves and you let them just flow, and you just be with your body, be with the sensations of your body, afterwards is when you find the clarity and when you find the peace. So oftentimes when I ask my clients, okay, so what is the shadow here? What is it that you feel shame for? What is the belief system? And sometimes they'll be like, I don't know, nothing's coming up. And that's totally fine. And then we just go completely through the body and through the sensations in the body. And then, I don't know, they'll be like, okay, I feel like a brown lump in my belly area. And then I go through that and I ask, okay, what is that? What does this brown lump have to say? And that's how we then come to what's the actual shadow, what's the limiting belief, So I think a lot of us, we're so focused on the head, and especially in our society, we all work through the mind so much. And I love working through the mind. Like, don't get me wrong, I also don't want to say that the mind shouldn't be there, because it's a great tool to actually, access the subconscious and the body. But sometimes it's easier to go through the body first, and just lead with that. So again, just my reminder to everyone, check in with your body every day, check in with your feelings every day, and with your sensations in your body. And if you're going through a rough time right now, right, if you have a hard conversation in front of you, or if like you're ill right now and life's just not going the way you want it, or if, like me, you have a baby at home that isn't letting you sleep right now and you kind of just wish to get some sleep, just allow yourself to feel all of that, and allow yourself to feel the frustration about life that can sometimes come. And I'm sure that if you just let all of that in, a lot of clarity will come afterwards. But don't even focus on the clarity right now. Like, either will come or won't come, but you will never do anything wrong by feeling your true emotions that lie underneath it all. And there's a beautiful quote by Rumi. Nico and I were actually just in Glastonbury last week. I have actually quite a lot to say about that as well. We went to England, and I went to a bookshop and I bought a poems book by Rumi, and I love his poems. It's all about love and about the devotion to love and to God as love entity. And there's this quote that says, the wound, I don't want to butcher it. The wound is the place where light enters you. And I think that is so potent. And I just find it so crazy that, we're always talking about the same things. I actually don't know how old Rumi is, but I think I will look that up. One sec. Okay, so Rumi lived in the 13th century. How crazy is that this person was saying things so true to our human experience that we're still having to deal with today, and that we still have to integrate today. And that just shows, it's all a human experience. And as much as we might feel in the moment like, oh, life is an attack on us and things should be different, that's just how life is, unfortunately, but also fortunately, And I think this is what this quote brings back, that if we really feel our wounds, if we really feel our pains, that is where also we make space for light to enter. And the only way to not move forward is to not listen to the signs of your body and to not listen to the compass of your heart. I'm becoming a poet right now as well. I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm so tired. But also to give a little bit of an update, because a lot of people are so sweet. Some of my former clients messaged me and were like, oh, it's so nice. Or I hear that a lot. They're like, oh, in our sessions, it's always about me. So I love listening to your podcast to hear what's going on in your life. So to give a little update on that, I want to make a podcast episode with Nico together as well. But unfortunately, our son woke up, so someone had to take him out. And I said, I want to record my podcast today. So that's what I'm doing. But we have decided that we want to move to England. We went on this trip, and Nico kind of surprised me for the trip, which was so sweet. He like hinted at it a couple of times, and then asked, for my availability and stuff. And then he was like, "Okay, yeah, I booked flights for Wednesday. We're going to England," and we explored the English countryside together, and there was parts of the English countryside that I didn't feel so good in, to be honest. There was like some really dense energy for me personally. I'm going to speak to an astrologer about this next week, actually. No, in the first week of September, to see what like astrological lines are going through England and where. Because that has always been quite true for me. For example, the astrologer once told me that my love lines are going through Berlin, and that's where I met Nico then. Same, he told me that I had karma in Paris, and in Paris I got mono and was living in a moldy apartment and got really ill. But hey, you live and learn from it. So we went to England, and then we went to a real estate agent and looked at 2 houses. They weren't the right ones, and we're learning all about property market right now. So we want to try to buy a house in the next year as like an investment, and to see how that goes, and to just get on the property market. So it's just really fun. We have like this map of the English countryside where we want to live printed out, and we're just gonna like go all in on that. We'll see how long we're going to still be in Berlin, if it's going to be a question of 2 weeks or 2 months. But when Nico and I decide to do something and we get excited about something, we tend to move really quick, which I just love so much about our relationship, and which I love so much about Nico, that we're so driven by excitement. And of course, our jobs also allow us to move quick on these kind of things. But it's kind of funny. Like, it was especially for big things. Like, Nico and I always said we would never move into the same apartment because we needed our freedom, or so much. And then in 2 weeks we decided like, oh, actually we enjoy living together. And then we moved in with each other. And similar, I mean, with having a baby was a bit different. I've been wanting a baby for longer than Nico, but still, like, when we actually decided to start trying to get pregnant, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna start trying in like 6 months. It was like, okay, we're gonna start trying next, like now. And I feel like those are the decisions that are always the best ones for us. But I always joke that, like, I know that next year is absolutely not going to look like this year, and I can't predict it whatsoever. And that seems to be the case. So like the year, so Jano, our son, was born in October, and in October 23, I would have never thought that in October 24 we would have a baby. And then in October 24, I would have never thought that in October 25 we would be living in England. And yeah, I just love it. It's so fun. And Nico finally found an engagement ring for me, which unfortunately had to be adjusted a little bit, so I'm not wearing it yet. But it's so beautiful, and it's exactly what we were looking for. So I'm excited to wear that as well. So we're just finishing everything off here, selling my car. We still, want to get married in Germany because we started that whole crazy process of, everything. We might come back as well to just get married and then go back to England. But I cannot wait to live my welly boots life in the English countryside, and to like maybe start baking bread and stuff, but as well be in the town. So that's what I notice is really different in England than in Germany, that you have like all these little towns that are actually not that little, that have really cute shops there, that have like, nice cafes, nice restaurants. And it's just people from London moving with their families to the outskirts, or not even the outskirts, really to the countryside. And it's so cute and so beautiful. And it's everything that I feel like I need at this point in my life. So we're going to see how that goes. We'll keep you updated. And I also want to make a podcast episode with Nico where I speak about all of this stuff. Okay, so yeah, this was this week's episode. If you liked the episode, feel free to give me a 5-star review or also send it to your friends. Or if you've listened to other episodes and you really enjoyed one of them particularly, it helps me a lot if you send them over to other friends that you feel like could benefit from the episode. I think, my goal is still to double down on all of this podcasting stuff. And I noticed that I'm not enjoying Instagram particularly a lot right now. I also don't really enjoy watching anything. I feel like it's so much is so superficial, and you can't really go into depth. But I also know that that might just be the phase of my life right now. But I just know that I love making these episodes for you. And today again with video, because originally I wanted to do it with Nico, and whenever I do anything with Nico, of course there's going to be video because that's his work. But I also noticed that not as many people listened to the last episode as the ones before where I had video on, because of course then I can promote it on Instagram and stuff. Yeah, we'll see. But as I said in the beginning, for me right now, it's all about making this as a fun experience for me and self-expression and all of that. So if that means that not as many people listen to it, then that's fine. I'm sure that, even if there's just like last time, if there's a few people that love the episodes and that I feel like it really helps them, then that's already enough for me, because for me it's also means a lot to sit down here and record this for you, check in with myself, check in with my week, check in with my work life. Yeah. And I, as always, have a little exercise with you because I love exercises. So this week's exercise is to write an emotional letter. So if you're feeling a bit under the weather right now, a bit like how I've been feeling this week, do yourself a favor and write yourself an emotional letter, and just write a letter to the universe, to life, to a certain person that you might be upset with, whatsoever, to your highest self, and just get it all off your chest and get it all off your body and connect with your body, see where you feel certain things, and then write them down. And I love this exercise with writing anger letters or writing grief letters and all that stuff. But maybe your body tells you that you actually just want to check in with your body. You just want to feel, maybe you want to stretch on your yoga mat a little bit and feel very deeply into each part of your body. Then do that. I just know that a lot of people that I work with, this checking in with your body doesn't come as easy and as natural. So sometimes it's easier to start a bit through the mind and find that connection through your emotions like that. But do whatever resonates with you, and feel free to message me on Instagram, nora.ring. I mean, I still use Instagram to, connect and message people and stuff. And I also post some stuff. Or if you're my client, of course, just message me through Signal. How things resonated, if you have any questions, and how the episode resonated with you. And then I will hopefully, cross fingers, speak to you again in 2 weeks. Have a lovely evening or day or whenever you're listening to this.